Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm doing another outside video because I love outside. So today we are going through my May favorites. Honestly, May has been a pretty good month for me. I have really enjoyed being home this month and I got some good reading done. The Believe-a-thon happened. I'm trying to think of what else. But I had a really good month. I had a lot of good books, which if you want to see my wrap up, not including my 5-star reads, that was up on Wednesday, so you can go back and watch that. I'll put it up in the card. But let's start out with my May favorite books. So I had 4 favorites, and I actually don't have any of them with me today to show you, but I'll put up the pictures. I re-listened to The Hunger Games. It's been a couple years since I'd listened, and I loved it. It brought back the feels. It was great. I know I talked about this a little bit in my last video too. I thought the world building was so cool with Hunger Games, and Katniss drove me insane sometimes, but her character development was great. The Hunger Games is just such a complicated thought process and a horrible thing, and being in the point of view that we had, I really enjoyed that series. I did listen to the 3 original books, and then I also did then go and read the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It was really interesting to like see both sides. It would be very interesting to like see a capital side of view from someone, you know. I know a lot of the times they said that they were just kind of like sheep going with it and dealing with it and pretending not even to know about it, just so they could get all the privileges that came with being part of the Capitol, which honestly translated to me with a lot of what's going on in our country right now. I am going to do a whole video about some books that would be great education. With George Floyd being murdered 2 weeks ago now, it has really brought to light for a lot of us how little education we have and how easily we follow that racist ideals, even when I would very much like to say I'm not at all racist. But with the microaggressions that are built into us, with electing people in power that continue to uphold policies and law that victimize and criminalize and are completely racist against Black people, shows how easily someone in the Capitol would just keep doing the things they were doing because of the privilege they got. So white people, because of all the white privilege and the white supremacy, continue to make racist choices by allowing laws to pass that are racist, that victimize, that treat people of color horribly. And a lot of us don't even realize that we're doing it because we're so undereducated. In the books I've been reading, I realized how little I know, and honestly our education systems suck, because why don't I know this? Like, this is something that I should know, and this is definitely something that I'm going to teach my child, and I'm fully an anti-racist. We are going to make moves against the power that are setting up these horrible laws. We're going to break these laws. We're going to cut down the white privilege. In myself as well, I am daily trying to think about those microaggressions that I honestly don't think about. The reflexes you have that make no sense. Because the last thing I want to do is pass those down to my son. There has been horrible people coming out with these horribly racist, horribly white supremacist concepts, and it blows my mind at how stupid people are. We need to stop those voices, and we need to raise up the voices that need to be heard. We need to donate where we can, and we need to step in and fight and change. We need to change the laws. This country was built on racism and it needs to stop and needs to change now. I will be coming at you next week with a video all about ways to educate yourselves and ways that I have really delved into educating myself in the past week. So please keep an eye on that. But for now, there's some links below on ways you can help. If you don't know exactly what to say, raise up the voices of the people that do. Raise up the Black voices in your community, in BookTube, and around the world that know exactly what to say because they've been there and they've suffered so horribly. So please raise those voices up and use your own voice in a way so that we can make actual real change. Now cutting back to my favorites. So yes, I gave both The Hunger Games and Catching Fire 5 stars. Mockingjay I did give 4 because I just felt like it was a little rushed and I wanted it to be split into 2 books. I did talk about more of that into my past video. And then the next one was Station 11. I have read this before. I read it pre-pandemic, so I didn't have that mindset that we have now. And it was so crazy to read it and know what it feels like to have an airplane full of people get sick and for the virus to wipe out people you love, and just to see it melt down the structure of the United States, of the world, honestly, because this is like COVID is, everyone is involved. And the book Station 11 has a flu, and it's so much worse than COVID ever could imagine to be, and really takes down the entire world. So its main character is a traveling Shakespeare company, and then there's also some outside characters that fit into or work into the system of that traveling theater, and it's such a good book. I love Emily St. John Mandel's writing. I feel like she's just poetic and her prose is amazing and you just feel it, and it's a bigger book but it's a quick read. So really enjoyed Station 11 the second time, and I think I enjoyed it even more with the new views on the world I have. Then the last 2 5 stars for me were middle grades. The first one was Orion Lost, and that was a sci-fi where these families are in space because they're gonna go like recolonize, and as they would time jump or like space jump, they would all be put to sleep, but one of the times that they were put to sleep, only a few of the kids are woken up and all the parents can't be woken up. And so the kids have to try to save the ship, and then the ship itself is a character, and ship, you aren't really sure if they're good or bad, if they're helping or not, because weird things are happening and they're not sure why. But I really liked it. I thought it was a really cool story. I thought it had some really good moves in it that you didn't necessarily see coming, so really enjoyed those. And then the final one was Pilly. The final one was Tilly and the Book Wanderers. So it was book 1 of the Pages and Co. series. Tilly is a strong, wonderful little girl who loves books. She lives in this amazing bookstore that I'm super jealous of. She lives with her grandparents because her mother had left and they don't know what happened to her. She disappeared and they couldn't find her. Tilly learns pretty early on in the book that she can actually meet book characters, like Anna Green Gables all of a sudden in the store and talking to her. And then she learns that she can actually go inside of a book. So her and her friend Oscar are learning all these things, and then they find out that there's this whole book wandering world, and they learn the inner workings of that. Along with that, there's a mystery, there's a bad guy, you know, she's still looking for, or wants to figure out what happened to her mother. So lots of things going on in the book, really cool world building, so definitely enjoyed that one. So those were my 5-star books, and then I had some May favorites for just life and lifestyle. My first May favorite, and I think the thing that brought me through May the most, was Schitts Creek. I cannot get over how much I dearly, wholeheartedly love Schitts Creek. It is heartwarming, hilarious, witty, like it's everything I need in a show. It's my perfect show. I still need to catch up on season 6 because it's not on Netflix, so I have to figure out how to watch it. But all the feels for David and Patrick, like I loved Amanda, oh, like everybody, seriously, the one thing that caught me as I was watching it is how not diverse at all the show is. It's very much a white cast. So that was probably my only negative thing about it. And sadly, I did not recognize that until more education was brought to light. They're definitely, yeah. So, but I loved it. I thought it was such a great show, and I'm really sad that it is done. After I could watch 17 more seasons for sure. The next one has been on my list since March, and that is Animal Crossing. I am still playing daily. It is still my escape. I feel creative. I've met some friends through it. So I feel like I get to experience life and socialize with it, and I get to design my island the way it has, and it's adventure, and I love like the beginning of new months and you have new bugs and new fish. So I adore Animal Crossing, and I'm so glad that I got it. And the next one is the Daily Podcast from the New York Times. I have really felt like this podcast has done a great job of giving different views, first off during COVID, and then secondly as the world is really understanding or starting to see the protests and look at different perspectives. I think they've done an amazing job. Lately, like the one that I just listened to had perspectives of the people who are out protesting, and just so like getting to hear a first-hand account of a little boy playing in the park at like age 7. They were having a snowball fight. There was like 5 or 6 black kids all playing together. Nothing's going wrong. 100% normal life. A cop pulls up. They all just take off because they're so ingrained to be terrified of cops. And the cop ends up catching him running through an alley and tells him to get his black ass home. This poor kid was playing in a park and had a horrible cop just yelling at him for that. And like, he said he didn't even tell his parents or anything because it was just so normal that he was treated that way. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. They did a interview with the mayor of Minneapolis that I thought was excellent. And they ask questions, and they like consistently ask questions even when they're not getting the answer. And I don't think people are trying not to answer the question, but like you get off topic and they make sure they go back to that. Like, no, this is what we started with. What was the answer to this question? So I really thought that they have done a great job. So that comes out every morning during the week, and I've listened to it since March, every single day. It is just a staple. I feel like it's good quality reporting. And then at the end of each of the podcasts, they also say like what you need to know today, and they tell you some of the top news topics. And for me, I have a hard time with news, knowing that media is trying to get the views instead of actually telling the truth, and knowing just my own anxiety levels increase. So I need to do it in smaller chunks and from people I trust, and that is a podcast that I really trust. And then I do actually have some physical items with me. So the first thing I have been obsessed with is these pens. So I have a bunch here. They are the Friction, I don't even know how to say that, clicker erasable pens. I love them. They have super good quality color, and they are clickers so they don't dry out, and they erase really well, and they'll erase like weeks after I've written. So especially in my planner, if I write something and then I'm like, crap, I don't want that anymore, I'm still able to erase it. So I love that. The next one is my dry shampoo. This is the IGK First Class Charcoal Detox Dry Shampoo. Used it today. During the summer, I do tend to shower some more because it's hot, you have sunscreen on, but this is a staple for the winter. The smell isn't overpowering, but it does a really good job, and it doesn't feel like dry shampoo. Like, I don't have that chalky feel that some get. So I really like this one. I normally buy it at Ulta, so I'll link it down below. And then another thing I've been loving from Ulta are these scrunchies. So it's an actual scrunchie here, but then it also has a bow part that you can tie or untie or whatever you want to do with it. So I really like these. They hold my hair well, even if I don't put a hair tie underneath them. And I think they're just such a cute accent. They like make a ponytail or a bun look classier than it really is. And finally, this one's such a goofy one, but this cotton candy body spray from Walmart totally reminded me of high school, so I just had to get it. Like, you know how smells remind you of things? And I went to Germany for a couple weeks when I was in high school, and that just brings me back to all the fun I had there. So it's just goofy, that cotton candy, but I love it. And it's just one of those fun, playful things to, why not? But anyway, I hope you guys check out the information I provided below to help support protesters, to educate yourself more, and please come back for my video next week so that you can learn some good resources for educating yourself, because man, I've learned so much this week, and I am excited to share with you these resources because they're gonna change your view on the world. So, I will see you next week.